Mary Louise Meryl Streep is an American actress. Often described as the best actress of her generation, Streep is particularly known for her versatility and accents. Nominated for a record 21 Academy Awards, she has won 3. Among other accolades, she has received 32 Golden Globe nominations, more than any other person, and won 8.
Streep made her stage debut in Trelawney of the Wells in 1975. In 1976, she received a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Play for 27 Wagons Full of Cotton and A Memory of Two Mondays. In 1977, she made her screen debut in the television film The Deadliest Season, and also made her film debut in Julia. In 1978, she won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress, Miniseries or a Movie for her role in the miniseries Holocaust, and received her first Oscar nomination for The Deer Hunter. Streep went on to win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for Kramer vs. Kramer, and the Academy Award for Best Actress for Sophie's Choice and The Iron Lady.
Streep's other Oscar-nominated roles were in The French Lieutenant's Woman, Silkwood, Out of Africa, Ironweed, Evil Angels, Postcards from the Edge, The Bridges of Madison County, One True Thing, Music of the Heart, Adaptation, The Devil Wears Prada, Doubt, Julie and Julia, August, Osage County, Into the Woods, Florence Foster Jenkins, and The Post. Her stage roles include the Public Theater's 2001 revival of The Seagull, and her television roles include 2 projects for HBO, the acclaimed miniseries Angels in America, for which her performance won her another Emmy Award, and the drama series Big Little Lies.
Streep has been the recipient of many honorary awards. She was awarded the AFI Life Achievement Award in 2004, Gala Tribute from the Film Society of Lincoln Center in 2008, and Kennedy Center Honor in 2011 for her contribution to American culture through performing arts. President Barack Obama awarded her the 2010 National Medal of Arts, and in 2014, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In 2003, the government of France made her a Commander of the Order of Arts and Letters. She was awarded the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award in 2017.
Mary Louise Streep was born on June 22, 1949, in Summit, New Jersey. She is the daughter of Mary Wilkinson Streep, a commercial artist and art editor, and Harry William Streep, Jr., a pharmaceutical executive. She has 2 younger brothers, Harry William Streep III and Dana David Streep, who are also actors.
Streep's father Harry was of German and Swiss ancestry. Her father's lineage traces back to Longfenau, Germany, from where her second great-grandfather, Gottfried Streep, immigrated to the United States, and where one of her ancestors served as mayor. Another line of her father's family was from Giswell, Switzerland. Her mother had English, German, and Irish ancestry. Some of Streep's maternal ancestors lived in Pennsylvania and Rhode Island, and were descended from 17th-century immigrants from England. Her 8th great-grandfather, Lawrence Wilkinson, was one of the first Europeans to settle in Rhode Island. Streep is also the second cousin 7 times removed of William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania. Records show that her family is among the first purchasers of land in the state. Streep's maternal great-great-grandparents, Manus McFadden and Grace Strain, the latter the namesake of Streep's second daughter, were natives of the Hornhead district of Dunfanaghy, Ireland.
Streep's mother, whom she has compared in both appearance and manner to Dame Judi Dench, strongly encouraged her daughter and instilled confidence in her from a very young age. Streep has said, "She was a mentor because she said to me, 'Meryl, you're capable. You're so great.' She was saying, 'You can do whatever you put your mind to. If you're lazy, you're not going to get it done. But if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.' And I believed her." Although Streep was naturally more introverted than her mother, at times, when she later needed an injection of confidence in adulthood, she would consult her mother, asking her for advice.
Streep was raised as a Presbyterian in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and attended Cedar Hill Elementary School and the Oak Street School, which was a junior high school back then. In her junior high debut, She starred as Louise Heller in the play The Family Upstairs. In 1963, the family moved to Bernardsville, New Jersey, where she attended Bernards High School. Author Karina Longworth described her as a gawky kid with glasses and frizzy hair, yet noted that she liked to show off in front of the camera in family home movies from a young age. At the age of 12, Streep was selected to sing at a school recital, leading to her having opera lessons from Estelle Liebling. However, despite her talent, she has remarked that, "I was singing something I didn't feel and understand. That was an important lesson, not to do that. To find the thing that I could feel through." She quit after 4 years. Streep had many Catholic school friends and regularly attended Mass. She was a high school cheerleader for the Bernards High School Mountaineers and was also chosen as the homecoming queen her senior year. Her family lived on Old Fort Road.
Although Streep appeared in numerous school plays during her high school years, she was uninterested in serious theater until acting in the play Miss Julie at Vassar College in 1969, in which she gained attention across the campus. Vassar drama, Professor Clinton J. Atkinson noted, "I don't think anyone ever taught Meryl acting. She really taught herself." Streep demonstrated an early ability to mimic accents and to quickly memorize her lines. She received her B.A. cum laude from the college in 1971, before applying for an MFA from the Yale School of Drama. At Yale, she supplemented her course fees by waitressing and typing, and appeared in over a dozen stage productions a year, to the point that she became overworked, developing ulcers. She contemplated quitting acting and switching to study law. Streep played a variety of roles on stage, from Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream to an 80-year-old woman in a wheelchair in a comedy written by then-unknown playwrights Christopher Durang and Albert Inurado. She was a student of choreographer Carmen de la Valade, whom she introduced at the 2017 Kennedy Center Honors. Another one of her teachers was Robert Lewis, one of the co-founders of the Actors Studio. Streep disapproved of some of the acting exercises she was asked to do, remarking that the professors delved into personal lives in a way I find obnoxious. She received her MFA from Yale in 1975. Streep also enrolled as a visiting student at Dartmouth College in the fall of 1970, and received an honorary Doctor of Arts degree from the college in 1981.
One of Meryl Streep's first professional jobs in 1975, after Yale, was at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center's National Playwrights Conference, during which she acted in 5 plays over 6 weeks. Streep moved to New York City in 1975 and was cast by Joseph Papp in a production of Trelawney of the Wells at the Public Theater, opposite Mandy Patinkin and John Lithgow. She went on to appear in 5 more roles in her first year in New York, including in Papp's New York Shakespeare Festival productions of Henry V, The Taming of the Shrew with Raoul Julia, and Measure for Measure opposite Sam Waterston and John Cazale. She entered into a relationship with Cazale at this time, and resided with him until his death 3 years later. She starred in the musical Happy End on Broadway, and won an Obie for her performance in the off-Broadway play Alice at the Palace.
Although Streep had not aspired to become a film actor, Robert De Niro's performance in Taxi Driver had a profound impact on her. She said to herself, "That's the kind of actor I want to be when I grow up." Streep began auditioning for film roles, and underwent an unsuccessful audition for the lead role in Dino De Laurentiis' King Kong. Laurentiis, referring to Streep as she stood before him, said in Italian to his son, "This is so ugly. Why did you bring me this?" Unknown to Laurentiis, Streep understood Italian, and she remarked, "I'm very sorry that I'm not as beautiful as I should be, but, you know, this is it. This is what you get." She continued to work on Broadway, appearing in the 1976 double bill of Tennessee Williams' 27 Wagons Full of Cotton and Arthur Miller's A Memory of Two Mondays. She received a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Play. Streep's other Broadway credits include Anton Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard and the Bertolt Brecht Kurzweil musical Happy End, in which she had originally appeared off-Broadway at the Chelsea Theatre Center. She received Drama Desk Award nominations for both productions.
Streep's first feature film role came opposite Jane Fonda in the 1977 film Julia, in which she had a small role during a flashback sequence. Most of her scenes were edited out, but the brief time on screen horrified the actress.
I had a bad wig, and they took the words from the scene I shot with Jane and put them in my mouth in a different scene. I thought, I've made a terrible mistake, no more movies. I hate this business.
Robert De Niro, who had spotted Streep in her stage production of The Cherry Orchard, suggested that she play the role of his girlfriend in the war film The Deer Hunter. Cazale, who had been diagnosed with lung cancer, was also cast in the film, and Streep took on the role of a vague, stock girlfriend to remain with Cazale for the duration of filming. Longworth notes that Streep,
Pauline Kael, who would later become a strong critic of Streep, remarked that she was a real beauty who brought much freshness to the film with her performance. The film's success exposed Streep to a wider audience and earned her a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress.
In the 1978 miniseries Holocaust, Streep played the leading role of a German woman married to a Jewish artist in Nazi-era Germany. She found the material to be unrelentingly noble and professed to have taken on the role for financial gain. Streep traveled to Germany and Austria for filming while Cazale remained in New York. Upon her return, Streep found that Cazale's illness had progressed, and she nursed him until his death on March 12, 1978. With an estimated audience of 109 million, Holocaust brought a wider degree of public recognition to Streep, who found herself on the verge of national visibility. She won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a miniseries or a movie for her performance. Despite the award's success, Streep was still not enthusiastic towards her film career and preferred acting on stage.
Hoping to divert herself from the grief of Cazale's death, Streep accepted a role in The Seduction of Joe Tynan as the chirpy love interest of Alan Alda, later commenting that she played it on automatic pilot. She performed the role of Catherine in The Taming of the Shrew for Shakespeare in the Park, and also played a supporting role in Manhattan for Woody Allen. Streep later said that Allen did not provide her with a complete script, giving her only the 6 pages of her own scenes, and did not permit her to improvise a word of her dialogue. In the drama Kramer vs. Kramer, Streep was cast opposite Dustin Hoffman as an unhappily married woman who abandons her husband and child. Streep thought that the script portrayed the female character as too evil and insisted that it was not representative of real women who faced marriage breakdown and child custody battles. The makers agreed with her, and the script was revised. In preparing for the part, Streep spoke to her own mother about her life as a wife with a career, and frequented the Upper East Side neighborhood in which the film was set, watching the interactions between parents and children. The director Robert Benton allowed Streep to write her own dialogue in 2 key scenes, despite some objection from Hoffman, who hated her guts at first. Hoffman and producer Stanley R. Jaffe later spoke of Streep's tirelessness, with Hoffman commenting,
quote, "She's extraordinarily hardworking, to the extent that she's obsessive. I think that she thinks about nothing else but what she's doing."
The film was controversial among feminists, but it was a role which film critic Stephen Farber believed displayed Streep's own emotional intensity, writing that she was one of the rare performers who can imbue the most routine moments with a hint of mystery.
For Kramer vs. Kramer, Streep won both the Golden Globe Award and the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, which she famously left in the ladies' room after giving her speech. She was also awarded the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Award for Best Supporting Actress, National Board of Review Award for Best Supporting Actress and National Society of Film Critics Award for Best Supporting Actress for her collective work in her 3 film releases of 1979. Both The Deer Hunter and Kramer vs. Kramer were major commercial successes and were consecutive winners of the Academy Award for Best Picture.
In 1979, Streep began workshopping Alice in Concert, a musical version of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, with writer and composer Elizabeth Swados and director Joseph Papp. The show was put on at New York's Public Theater from December 1980. Frank Rich of the New York Times referred to Streep as the production's one wonder, but questioned why she devoted so much energy to it. By 1980, Streep had progressed to leading roles in films. She was featured on the cover of Newsweek magazine with the headline "A Star for the ADS," Jack Kroll commented.
Streep denounced her fervent media coverage at the time as excessive hype.
The story within a story drama, The French Lieutenant's Woman, was Streep's first leading role. The film paired Streep with Jeremy Irons as contemporary actors, telling their modern story, as well as the Victorian-era drama they were performing. Streep perfected an English accent for the part, but considered herself a misfit for the role. "I couldn't help wishing that I was more beautiful." A New York Magazine article commented that, while many female stars of the past had cultivated a singular identity in their films, Streep was a chameleon, willing to play any type of role. Streep was awarded a BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a leading role for her work. The following year, she reunited with Robert Benton for the psychological thriller, Still of the Night, co-starring Roy Scheider and Jessica Tandy. Vincent Canby, writing for the New York Times, noted that the film was in homage to the works of Alfred Hitchcock, but that one of its main weaknesses was a lack of chemistry between Streep and Scheider, concluding that Streep is stunning, but she's not on screen anywhere near long enough.
Greater success came later in the year when Streep starred in the drama Sophie's Choice, portraying a Polish survivor of Auschwitz caught in a love triangle between a young naive writer and a Jewish intellectual. Streep's emotional dramatic performance and her apparent mastery of a Polish accent drew praise. William Styron wrote the novel with Ursula Andress in mind for the role of Sophie, but Streep was determined to get the role. Streep filmed the choice scene in one take and refused to do it again, finding it extremely painful and emotionally exhausting. That scene, in which Streep is ordered by an SS guard at Auschwitz to choose which of her two children would be gassed and which would proceed to the labor camp, is her most famous scene, according to Emma Brox of The Guardian, who wrote in 2006, "It's classic Streep, the kind of scene that makes your scalp tighten, but defter in a way is her handling of smaller, harder to grasp emotions." Among several acting awards, Streep won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance, and her characterization was voted the third greatest movie performance of all time by Premiere magazine. Roger Ebert said of her delivery,
Pauline Kael, on the contrary, called the film an infuriatingly bad movie, and thought that Streep decorporealizes herself, which she believed explained why her movie heroines don't seem to be full characters, and why there are no incidental joys to be had from watching her.
In 1983, Streep played her first non-fictional character, the nuclear whistleblower and labor union activist Karen Silkwood, who died in a suspicious car accident while investigating alleged wrongdoing at the Carnegie plutonium plant, in Mike Nichols' biographical film Silkwood. Streep felt a personal connection to Silkwood, and in preparation she met with people close to the woman, and in doing so realized that each person saw a different aspect of her personality. She said,
Jack Kroll of Newsweek considered Streep's characterization to have been brilliant, while Silkwood's boyfriend Drew Stevens expressed approval in that Streep had played Karen as a human being rather than a myth, despite Karen's father Bill thinking that Streep in the film had dumbed his daughter down. Pauline Kael believed that Streep had been miscast. Streep next played opposite Robert De Niro in the romance Falling in Love, which was poorly received, and portrayed a fighter for the French resistance during World War II in the British drama Plenty, adapted from the play by David Hare. For the latter, Roger Ebert wrote that she conveyed great subtlety. It is hard to play an unbalanced, neurotic, self-destructive woman, and do it with such gentleness and charm. Streep creates a whole character around a woman who could have simply been a catalog of symptoms. In 2008, Molly Haskell praised Streep's performance in Plenty, believing it to be one of Streep's most difficult and ambiguous films and most feminist role.
Longworth considered Streep's next release, Out of Africa, to have established her as a Hollywood superstar. In the film, Streep starred as the Danish writer Karen Blixen, opposite Robert Redford's Dennis Finch Hedden. Director Sidney Pollack was initially dubious about Streep in the role, as he did not think she was sexy enough, and had considered Jane Seymour for the part. Pollock recalls that Streep impressed him in a different way. She was so direct, so honest, so without bullshit. There was no shielding between her and me. Streep and Pollock often clashed during the 101-day shoot in Kenya, particularly over Blixen's voice. Streep had spent much time listening to tapes of Blixen, and began speaking in an old-fashioned and aristocratic fashion, which Pollock thought excessive. A significant commercial success, the film won a Golden Globe for Best Picture. It also earned Streep another Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, and the film ultimately won Best Picture. Film critic Stanley Kaufman praised her performance, writing Meryl Streep is back in top form. This means her performance in Out of Africa is at the highest level of acting in film today.
Longworth notes that the dramatic success of Out of Africa led to a backlash of critical opinion against Streep in the years that followed, especially as she was now demanding $4 million a picture. Unlike other stars at the time, such as Sylvester Stallone and Tom Cruise, Streep never seemed to play herself, and certain critics felt her technical finesse led people to literally see her acting. Her next films did not appeal to a wide audience. She co-starred with Jack Nicholson in the dramas Heartburn and Ironweed, in which she sang on screen for the first time since the television movie Secret Service. In Evil Angels, she played Lindy Chamberlain, an Australian woman who had been convicted of the murder of her infant daughter, despite claiming that the baby had been taken by a dingo. Filmed in Australia, Streep won the Australian Film Institute Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role, a Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival, and the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best Actress. Streep has said of perfecting the Australian accent in the film, "I had to study a little bit for Australian because it's not dissimilar, so it's like coming from Italian to Spanish. You get a little mixed up." Vincent Canby of the New York Times referred to her performance as another stunning performance, played with the kind of virtuosity that seems to redefine the possibilities of screen acting.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.